sinner? Would you be the preacher?
I don't know what I'm saying. Stop laughing at me. This is my real life. Don't laugh at my face. You're just laughing at me. Lucky I'm gonna cut this all out. Okay.
Laughing at you.
You're actually laughing at me. No, you're not laughing. That's a lie. That's a lie we're gonna tell each other. I'm laughing with you. That's a lie. Let me get a good light right now. Okay, that's a good light. So,
Sir?
okay, I'm trying to start. Just
Drink.
It's here? What? Oh my god. Can you... Oh my god. I would... I don't know if I have anything else to really add on here. Oh, I do have a story for you guys. So part of what you just saw in one of these earlier videos is, so a friend of mine's mom, she has this school, it's this English school, you know, in a different part of Japan. And, you know, she's asked me for, she's like, hey, you gotta come help me with my mom. And I'm like, alright, yeah. I don't know what that was, but and so yeah, she asked me, and so I said, fine. I said yes. Semester's over. I'll help you. And so we meet up. First off, we're late. Her more so than me. I was late 3 minutes. She was late like 15. So I'm the less late person in this story. Yeah. She was late 3 minutes. I was late 15. And so we actually ended up having to ride the train further because her mom was supposed to pick us up. And she's like, you guys are late, so I can't. And yeah, so she doesn't pick us up, so we ride really, really close to the school because, you know, they don't live right next to it, which is really, really cool. It was a very, very warm welcome for us. Another friend of mine actually works at the school, and so he was kind of excited to see us both in our element when we got there. And, you know, at first I was like nervous and not necessarily overwhelmed, but sort of like anxious to see what this is going to be like. You know, I'd never been in that kind of environment before, and just the look on some of these kids' faces was just, as I'm walking by, and which made me a little bit more like, well, this is going to be a challenge. But once we got in there, you know, it took them a minute to warm up to me. I mean, these are little kids anywhere from, it seemed like maybe 6 to maybe like 11 or something like that. And it was these massive extremes of kids, you know, and of course every kid's sort of, you know, every kid has their own way or whatever, but the extreme was just massive. Like, you know, you had this one child, and I'm not gonna say male or female or what age, and this one, I'll just say she was just rambunctious, but not in like an angry way. Like, it was very like, you know, she's young, so it was like very cute, but like still like, I was just like, what are you asking me? She'd ask me some really direct questions, which kind of caught me off guard. And for those of you who don't know, Japanese culture, Japanese language is very direct, and so I usually deal with, as I don't deal with kids, but I probably deal with kids less than I do like in America, because, you know, I have siblings, and I have siblings that, not necessarily siblings, but I have like nieces and nephews, and I have cousins, and so I deal with kids more in the US, but she was just so direct with her questions. And so because you've met kids before, I have. And, you know, it's fine. And usually they're more direct than me by their parents, but she was just so direct that I just couldn't. I was just, I never had a child ask me a question where I was just, she did that like 3 times, her questions. And they're probably wondering what kind of questions these were. I'll give you a hint. You know, like, she was like, you know, like, do you have a girlfriend? Like, questions that are like, and some of you guys are like, how did you get there? How did you get to that point of those questions? That's the thing. There wasn't any warning. It wasn't related. Like, we were trying to teach her new words, and just out of the blue, she's just one after the other, like, pew, 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 like a gun. And I'm just like, like, almost ready to run away. I screamed for my friend to help me 3 times during this class. And, you know, obviously as a joke, I wasn't seriously, I expected him to run over and, like, save me, but, you know, it was a lot. But, you know, it was a lot of fun. they just started to warm up me towards the time when my session was ending, which was really cool, because you could tell that there was like an interest in like communicating, specifically in English, you know, but I do speak a little Japanese, a little, and at this point where I am, I understand a lot more than I can say, but yeah, I speak a little, and so there was some level of comfort there for them, but there was more like curiosity, you know, which is very interesting for children, because they're in this environment, they feel pretty comfortable. I'm somebody new, first off, you know, and, you know, there's the worry of not being understood, which is something that I thought was very, very interesting, that they're able to not necessarily flash that out, but you could see it in their eyes that they're like, you might not understand what I'm about to tell you. I'm about to ask you a really ridiculous question. You might not understand my question. And so during this process, I learned a lot about, you know, kids, specifically kids in Japan. And I learned a lot about myself and sort of where I am in my Japanese ability. And I was taken aback, you know, by everything that happened, which is, I don't know, it's just instrumental. Anyway, and so the second part of that is some of these kids are like really, really hard on themselves learning English, and you know, it's just heartbreaking sometimes, you know. And so like many times I had to tell them, like, you know, calm down, you know, like you don't have to rush getting the answer to this question, you know. I want you to like think slowly, you know. Oh, also, fun fact, funny thing, and so funny thing, there was a little bit of nervousness when talking to me, and I'm assuming that's because, you know, I'm new once again, and they know that I'm being brought in because I'm native, which is, you know, sometimes a challenge for a lot of people, specifically, you know, learning the language, which I get. And so there was sometimes hesitation to ask me questions or talk to me. But when it came to something they wanted to know the answer to, that's when the perfect English came out. Yeah, we want to know the answer. We can ask you in 2 languages if you can't understand the first one. And my favorite one was, there's the same rambunctious girl. She asked me a question out of left field, and I was frozen, and I was literally frozen. Some of you guys are like, oh, you did that? No, I was like actually frozen. And, you know, in Japanese, she goes, did you understand? And I go, yes, I understood. I just don't have an answer. And that's the funny part about that. And so then she asked the question in English, and I was like, I understand you. And so that was entertaining, to say the least. But all in all, it was a lot of fun. A lot of the kids are very smart. The English ability is pretty high. Sort of sipping on some tori. You guys can see this here if it'll focus. And so yeah, I think that's it.